Welcome back to another edition of the Interlake Sports Now. I'm Josh Dugan, and on this week's show, we'll have some pro baseball news. Spring training's going on in the MLB. Only fitting it's that time of year. Baseball season's ramping up soon as the Glacier Ranger Riders made a move on the coaching staff, so we'll get to that. Then we'll dive in to how our Kalispell schools did at the Western AA basketball tournament that took place in Butte over the weekend. After that, we'll take a real quick look at the Valley teams competing in the State A basketball tournament this upcoming weekend, and closings out with some Griz and Cats basketball talk. Quick reminder, today's episode is brought to you by Nomad, voted the Flathead's best manufacturer. Nomad is a longtime supporter of our local community and sports scene, celebrating 20 years of building great careers and mission-focused custom vehicles. Nomad, a Montana-based company making a global impact. Visit nomadgcs.com for more info. That's nomadgcs.com for more information. The Valley's pro baseball team, the Glacier Ranger Riders of the Pioneer League, announced they're hiring a new pitching coach last week. The Riders brought in a new manager last fall, with Paul Fletcher taking over the manager position. And last year's manager, Stu Peterson, he'll stay on the team as the bench coach. Joining Fletcher and Peterson in the dugout will be new pitching coach Mike Koltak. Koltak played independent minor league baseball and played college ball at Ohio State and Georgetown College. Koltak started his coaching career in 2021 in the independent league with the Lexington Legends of the Atlantic League, so he'll be familiar with how independent ball works, seeing that the Range Riders are an MLB affiliate independent baseball league. Koltak and the Riders start their season out here in the Valley May 21st at Glacier Bank Park. The Riders will be hosting the brand new Oakland Ballers, who along with the YOLO High Wheelers are the two newest teams in the Pioneer League and the first teams based out of California to join the Pioneer League. So the Range Riders are no longer the new kids on the block in the league. They're going to be entering their third season, and it's going to be fun to watch if they can build on last year's success and really compete for a Pioneer League crown this summer. All right, moving along from the baseball talk to the basketball talk. The Western AA divisional took place last weekend. Let's get to a quick recap of that. The Glacier Wolfpack girls will be the Lone Valley team that will be heading to state. They punched their ticket to state with a 46-40 win over Helena Capital Saturday in a loser-out game. That clinched their spot. Charlotte Osler led the team with 10 points in the win, and Reese Ramey chipped in 7 points and 9 rebounds. The Wolfpack overcame a loss to Missoula Hellgate on day one of the Western AA tourney, but bounced back Friday with a 48-44 win over Butte, led by 16 points from Ramey. And then, of course, they went on to beat Capital, clinch their spot. So congrats to the Wolfpack girls. They'll be taking on Billings Skyview Thursday in Missoula on day one of the tournament. Best of luck to them in Missoula. So next up, the Flathead girls, meanwhile, dropped their Thursday contest with Missoula Big Sky 52-42, and Missoula Sentinel knocked them out of the tournament with a 66-46 win on Friday. Kendi Moore was a big part of the Bravettes in both games, but had a double-double in that loss Friday with 12 points and 10 rebounds. Shout out to the Bravettes senior class on finishing up their high school basketball careers, and best of luck moving forward. As for the boys, with neither Flathead or Glacier making it to state, the highlight of the Western AA tournament as it relates to the Valley was the Wolfpack and Braves meeting Friday morning at the Western AA tournament in a loser-out game. Little postseason edition across town. That's always fun. Glacier, they had lost Thursday to Capital, and Flathead fell to Missoula Hellgate to set up the Friday morning matchup between the Kalispell schools. Like I said, loser-out action. The Wolfpack did pick up a 63-38 win, led by 20 points from Liam Ells, who hit 4 3-pointers in the win. The Wolfpack would then fall Saturday to Butte in a heartbreaker. The Wolfpack took a 56-55 lead with 12 seconds to play, and after a Cone Costellet's offensive rebound, Liam Ells hit the bucket that gave him the lead. But the Bulldogs, playing at home in front of their home crowd, responded with just 12 seconds to go. Tosher Lee hit a three-point shot from way, way deep that went in to make things 58-56 and essentially end Glacier's season. So Butte with some late-game heroics at home to punch their ticket to state. As we mentioned last show, this was the final season for Glacier head coach Mark Harkins, who has been the Glacier basketball coach since the school opened in 2007. He racked up 201 career wins and made 11 state tournaments, including a title in 2017 and a third-place finish last season. Kudos to Coach Harkins on a great career, and major shout-out to the Flathead and Glacier boys basketball seniors on finishing up their prep basketball journeys. Best of luck on the next chapter. Let's get to the State A look ahead, just a little bit about what Valley teams are going to be playing at the State A basketball tournament. So the Class A ranks we have on the girls' side, the Big Four girls, and they're going to be joined by Browning as area teams who made state. Last year's Class B champion, Big Fork, they won it in Class B. They move up to Class A. So far, they've won the Western Divisional. Let's see if they can go on and have similar success at state. And like I said, Browning is the other school who made it from the area. They'll be taking on Haver at 1:30 p.m. Thursday. Big Fork's taking on Lockwood in the nightcap Thursday at 8 p.m. Best of luck to the Browning and Big Fork girls on their trip to state and quest for a state championship. As for the area boys, Columbia Falls was the lone Class A school to punch their ticket to the state tournament. Columbia Falls will take on the defending state champion Fergus Golden Eagles, so they'll have a tough test right out the gate at the tournament. No doubt that game takes place Thursday at 10:30 a.m. in Butte. Alrighty, this week's Poster Player of the Week honor goes to Columbia Falls Hooper Jace Hill, who had a monster game versus Frenchtown at the Western A tournament last weekend to help propel the Wildcats into the state tournament. Hill dropped an efficient 33 points, hit 13 of 15 from the field. Very impressive. Only missed 2 shots, and he made 7 of 9 of his 3-point attempts. Those are Steph Curry type of numbers. So big kudos to Hill on the sharp shooting and having a heck of a game when his team needed the most to make the state tournament. The Wildcats, best of luck to them as a team this weekend at state. Looking forward to seeing how the state A and state AA action go with our fair share of Valley teams in the action. All right, let's round this one out. It's been a quick show, but it's that time of the sports year. Things have slowed down just a little bit as we wait for baseball to ramp back up. Football's finally done. Basketball's slowing down, and the rest of the winter sports wrapped up a couple weeks ago. But let's talk a little college hoops as the Griz and Cats men's and women's basketball teams are almost done with their regular seasons. Both schools, men's and women's, play their final game later tonight, Monday night. So we won't have those scores in the recap, but let's get to how things went Thursday and Saturday for the Bobcat and Griz, men and women. Let's start with the Lady Griz, who fared, and let's see how they fared in those 2 contests. They both took place in Missoula, so they had some home games. The Lady Griz dropped a nail-biter Thursday to the Eastern Washington Eagles, who sit atop the Big Sky standings. Maggie Espen Miller McGraw led the Lady Griz with 15 points, while Danny Barsh and Carmen G. Feller both had 12 rebounds for Montana in the loss. On Saturday, the Lady Griz bounced back with a 64-48 win over Idaho. Espen Miller McGraw once again paced the Lady Griz with 16 points, leading the way, while Barsh again was a monster on the glass with 12 rebounds. One of those players who's just a rebounding machine all season long. The Bobcat women dropped a pair of home games after falling 58-53 to Idaho Thursday. Mara Dykstra had 16 points and 7 rebounds for the Bobcats, and Caitlin Lamardo was 1 board shy of a double-double with 10 points and 9 boards. On Saturday, the Bobcats dropped a nail-biter of their own to Eastern Washington. The Eagles coming away with 2 tough wins in the Treasure State, as the Eagles beat the Bobcats 52-50 in Bozeman. Caitlin Lamardo led the Bobcats with 13 points in the loss. As for the Bobcat men, they beat the Idaho Vandals 62-48 Thursday in Moscow. Robert Ford had a team-high 14 points for Montana State to go with 3 steals. Eddie Turner, the third, was a monster on defense with a game-high 7 steals in the win. You don't see that every day. On Saturday, the Bobcats dropped a high-scoring affair with first-place Eastern Washington and Cheney. It was 108-104. You don't see a lot of games in college basketball going in those kind of numbers. So a lot of scoring being done. Things got chippy in that one. A Montana State player was ejected for throwing a punch. So one of those games, a lot of intensity. Postseason play is almost there, and teams are really ramping it up. The scrappy Bobcats, who did lose, were led by 24 points by Eddie Turner, and Brian Gorecki had 22 points in the loss. Last up is the Griz men, who fell Thursday 89-79 in Cheney to Eastern Washington. Aiden Moody exploded for 35 points while knocking down 8 of 11 from 3-point land in the loss. We mentioned Steph Curry type of numbers with Jace Hill earlier. Moody doing some Steph Curry type of shooting as well. 8 of 11 from 3-point range is no easy thing to do. The Griz bounced back Saturday with an 80-57 win over Idaho in Moscow. The win was the 20th of the season for Montana. Moody once again led the way. He had 22 points in that one. One of those guys who's just a bucket getter, walking bucket, as they say. He's always going to be looking to score. And heading into the Big Sky tournament, if the Griz want to make a run, he's going to be the X factor. It's looking like offensively. And then Deshaun Thomas chipped in 20 for the Griz in the blowout win. Both the Montana State men's and women's basketball teams, they're about at that time. It's the Big Sky basketball tournament, Boise, March 9th through the 13th. That's on the radar. So next week on the show, we'll definitely be looking how our Montana schools did in Boise. It's going to be a lot of fun. The pairing should come out later this week for that, see who they take on. So we're going to be getting to that. We're going to be wrapping up that state basketball coverage that's going on over the weekend. So next week's show will be a must-watch for basketball fans. No doubt about that. Alrighty, that is it for this week's episode of the Interlake Sports Now. I'm Josh Dugan, and I'm out.